Hi everyone, I'm back with another weekly market analysis. Last week's analysis proves to be very nice. We were anticipating price coming up into this inversion weekly gap, this inversion bullish breaker, and this inversion weekly gap as well. So it came into that really nicely and then expanded really fast. So we were able to catch a little bit of a trade on euro going long. So let's do our analysis for the upcoming week. So we closed very, very bearish, almost to the low. So what I'm anticipating is we come and take out these relative equal lows down here below the swing point. So we already came into this weekly gap once, twice, even three times. Expanded up, came up to this area. So we anticipated using this bullish breaker as support. It did, and then it broke down after that. So where's it going to go now? In my opinion, lower prices. I've changed my bias from being bullish. Now we're going bearish. So this would be my first target, the sell side liquidity below here, further into this gap as well. So let's just have a look on the monthly, see if we see anything interesting. Okay, so we have this 6-month bullish order block and body breaker. So because of the 6-month, 6-month over here, or is that 4 months? Yeah, sorry, that should be the 4 months over here. So on 4 months, it looks very nice. So I'm anticipating this for a possible bullish argument for price to use this area, this order block, or you can call it a breaker, as support. So this is the 4-month chart. So we still have a month, almost 2 months left. But I'm anticipating to see, do we come down here or do we start to move lower? So I don't want to see the 4-month close below this midpoint, the mean threshold of this order block. Or you could call this part, um, I guess, a body breaker, not really a conventional breaker with the wick being here. But nonetheless, still good. If we do start to move lower there and create more sell side liquidity, I'd be looking for this yearly gap to be traded into, and that should be quite juicy. In if we were to look for a long in there, but as a yearly gap and the yearly time frame is a very big time frame, we'd have to wait for quite a bit of confirmation on the weekly in order to catch a good trade, and there'll probably be significant amount of manipulation down there as well to not allow retail traders to enter the market. So for now, we're looking at this area. If price wants to move up, but we want to possibly take a short lower, as we are short bias now. So there was this inversion monthly gap. Price expanded up. It had a little bit of a bounce, but could not make it higher. Now we're dropping lower. Great. If this month closes bearish, we could even look to take a trade in there. It all depends how the month closes. If it closes lower, we could look to take a trade, maybe somewhere in there. So going back to the weekly, what could we anticipate on the next week? So first target would be obviously this low. And second target would be even lower, the sell side, further into the gap as well. We'll look on the lower time frames. So this is immediate target. If you want to continue short, I'd be looking for a retracement, possibly into this inversion weekly order block. As we may be leaving with speed, we may not have much of a retracement. So I'll be considering the entire range, the weekly range, and seeing if we do come back into a premium for a short. I don't think we'll come all the way back up here, but possibly in here little bit higher. So if we go to the daily, let's see. Yeah. So the daily, we had a bounce. And yeah, a very, very bearish close. And now we have these equal lows as well. Very nice. If we don't tap into that or have a deep close through that, it'd be very nice to look for a trade somewhere in this zone up here, that weekly inversion gap, and over here. So if we go down to even a lower time frame, 12 hour, it'd be a nice area as well. Okay, so that's the bias for dollar index. Bearish, so bullish, everything else. So we were still on the fence on whether to be bullish or not, because the pound came into a weekly gap, but on the euro there wasn't too much confirmation. So if we go to the monthly, yeah, a lot more choppiness. So I'm going to remove this as it's not so significant. Go to the weekly. Now we just have this weekly inversion gap here, possible inversion gap, and this weekly busy in here as well. So since this is higher, I'm just going to highlight this, because if anything, it has to come into this first. Okay, so very good. And where would we target? I think we may possibly be going for new highs, but of course we'll take profits at various swing points. First one being targeting here and here as well on the weekly time frame. If we go down to the daily, so we had this 3-day breaker on euro, came into it, came down almost to the bottom, and then expanded up. Go down to the daily. Now we have this daily gap in here with a order block, so it looks like a very nice gap. This one day looks like a very nice gap in there to possibly take a trade if we get a retracement, but we may not, because we have this really big expansion on the daily, and we have the PD arrays, which may be used as support. So if anything, if we don't trade below here, I'll be looking at trade somewhere in between the midpoint of this wick, somewhere in here. So let's see what that looks like on a lower time frame to add confluence. Okay, how about the 8-hour? Oh, nice. 8-hour gap here, very beautiful. This may be a good trade. So I'll just highlight this. Over here, busy 8-hour. It's an order block with a gap, which is a lot more higher probability than just an order block or just a gap. Okay, so 4-hour. 4-hour, there is this area here. I guess if we go on the 1-hour, 15-minute, we have this wick. So we may trade into this imbalance or this wick, or we may take the sell side liquidity. That's why we go to a lower time frame. We can find more equal lows that we may not see, and we can refine a target or an entry. So it's liquidity sell side here. Very nice. So we may come into this daily. We came into this 4-hour gap, but we may come again into this daily gap over here. Okay. So if we go to the British pound, it was a lot more clean. We had this nice weekly gap here that got traded into very nicely and expanded up a lot. So if we look at Euro GBP, it should look like in a downtrend. Yeah. And very nice. This came into, I guess that would be a monthly gap. Yeah. Monthly gap with a body breaker. Chat. Really nice respect. Cool. Order block. 1, 2, 3. Swing point. Expanding down. Where are we going? Yeah, most likely going below this low. So we should see a very strong pound compared to the euro. So if you want to trade one of those pairs, I'd suggest the pound. You may see something nicer, but based on the dollar, we should see higher prices on both. Okay, so check which one has a good setup. Definitely take the pound, I think, if there's a clean setup on that. if you had to choose between the two. So yeah, we'll just have a quick look at gold. Gold is at all-time highs. Not too interesting. Besides trendline liquidity here. Okay, came into this daily SIBI retracement. Did not take that low, and then expansion. Now using it somewhat as support. So we could just see higher prices for now on gold. Okay, for oil. Oil was choppy in a consolidation. So we had this 1 month gap here. Sorry. So we're still in discount on this range, but we had this monthly gap. So I think we came into it, expanded out of it. So we may come into it again just to test it, and then possibly move higher. But there's not too much confirmation right now. Go to the weekly. I'm just eyeing this weekly gap down here. Okay, for possible retracement. It's a nice breaker in there. You could use that to move higher. At least there may be a short-term trade at the very least, but always check how the candles close. And you can just have a look at a few others. Bitcoin. Okay, nice bounce. So we got this 3-month BISI here. And now we are seeing some reaction. Okay, we came to that, expanded up. Let's see, we got some buy side liquidity up there, which is good if we're anticipating a higher Bitcoin. Okay, any gaps on the daily? No, so we came into this daily CB, could not make a lower low, and now we're just kind of coming into this breaker, inversion breaker, and expanding up. So I want to see if there's any gaps forming. We still have a gap up here, so there's always trades to be taken. One could wait for return to this gap to trade into this gap. On Bitcoin, that is a 3% move. On leverage, of course, you can always make more. So that's a target for now. And eventually up here, if we don't make another low. So on the RSI, I don't use it for trades, but sometimes I come to it on the higher time frame to see are we at a very oversold area, and if we're at an PD array that can validate a bounce, great. Time to look for longs, eh? And that's it. How about S&P? I haven't looked at that in a while. Yeah, even when I had a different color scheme, just remove all this. Okay, so what was that? That's a monthly gap, and expanded up, and now we're at all-time highs. So I have nothing much to say for that. I don't know where it's going. Nobody does, but it seems to be on an uptrend. So we're waiting for an eventual drop, I guess. Yeah, I just wanted to show you UJ, Japanese yen, huge drop. All this sell side liquidity and 400 pip drop in a matter of an hour or 2 hours, which is, yeah, that's a huge move. Many liquidations and many people in profit as well. So it'd be quite interesting. We should expect lower prices in relation to our bearish dollar and our bullish euro and pound. So until where? So let's look for an opposing PD array. We came into this one, but we close. Very nice. Inversion gap. What can we do? This is what I do. This is what I look for. Pop, pop. Going into there. First target. Order block. Probably a bit lower because of the wick. So somewhere in the order block. And yeah, potentially lower prices. One step at a time. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. Yeah, maybe lower into here. So it really depends, but I think we could be expecting lower prices. I just do not have the confirmation yet on the lower time frames like the daily. But yeah, we should come into here, go to the 4 hour, into this gap, come into this order block, move lower. Very beautiful, equal lows. I would love to take this trade. Don't normally trade the yen, it's so manipulated, but check it out for yourself. 4-hour gap here. Unicorn gap. Not unicorn gap, but one gap that's nested with another wick. Okay, so I'll call it a, not really an R2F gap, but I'll highlight it in orange because it's very interesting on the 4-hour. Maybe a long R2F gap. My R2F gap normally is a wick here, but this is kind of extra candles away. It's very interesting. I'm going to put a alert 1 hour maybe in here. It's a refined entry. We have a nice order block, so we may come into here. We may see a wick in here and a body close in here. Okay, so we got a nice order block up here as well, but we may not come that high. We may just come into here. At least if we come into here, I want to see the body close below this order block. Okay, so this is anticipating price. So that's it. That is it for my analysis. It looks like some nice trades may be happening next week. Check out the economic calendar to tie everything together and the seasonal tendencies as well. So yeah, till next time, R2F signing out. Bye bye.